Yes, okay. So like, what is, ooh, it looks very bad. Oh no，我还没有做 data entry 耶，谁都，对啊，Oh no，Nixon，Where's Nixon？ Nixon 没有啊，哇惨了，Nixon 我学费还没有收哎，Nixon 还有，Oh my God，Nixon，我真的是忘记他，赶紧给啊，Nixon 还没有给吧？呃，这个礼拜不是？ 对啊，1个月了，所以下个礼拜开始啊。OK，很好，很好，很好，至少没有记错。OK，我需要真的是要找一天去修理这个东西。我现在我做的东西是 X，right？因为读 X，嗯， There a time. The new school in Perak. I sleep. Nine.
今年生意下滑了多少？
我今年才开始做品牌。
今年开始才开店？
对。
那以前干什么行业？
以前做打工仔。
啊，那你今年大家都说餐饮不好干，你为什么还要干餐饮？
我爱干餐饮，我爱做餐饮人。
那如果万一开店赔钱了，你自己能承受了？
可以。
可以啊。你在哪个城市？
在广东茂名。
做什么品类？
做茶饮品牌，姨妈热饮。
哦，姨妈热饮。
对，刚需。
一个女性在她有姨妈的时候。对。现在生意怎么样？
挺好的。现在是冬季，生意是往上走。
谢谢，加油。
All you need to know machine learning in 2024 is a laptop and a list of the steps you need to take. I'm a skilled researcher working for an ex-Meta professor and have had interviews with Google DeepMind, Amazon, and other cool companies. But it took me over 3 years to get to this point. So today I will share how I would learn machine learning if I could start over by revealing the 6 key steps you need to take. Let's get going. In general, all these steps don't have to be strictly completed in any particular order, but I would not start with the final and arguably most important step. That said, what I do highly recommend is to start with learning the basics of Python. Python is the programming language used by pretty much everyone to work on machine learning, and every other step on this list builds on top of it. This may, all you have to do, John, that's kind of blood, shit, feathers, and I woke up this morning, 6:30 a.m. Not because I had to. But I used to wake up at 4:35 a.m. and go to a job I hated. And I did that for years. I literally would have to wake up, get out in the full winter into my car that has shitty air conditioning, so I'd have to wear a couple layers of sweaters. And one of the windows was actually broken on the back of the car. Somebody broke into it and it broke the back window. It was an old like 1996 Sentra, absolute beater, but I couldn't afford to fix the window, so I just caked over it. And then I get in the car, I drive 15 minutes on pretty sketchy, dangerous roads with summer tires because I couldn't afford winter tires to the job site. And then I sit there, I have my shitty little iPod plugged in via aux cable, and this car was so old, it wasn't like a normal aux, it was a cassette player. So it was a cable that was made to go from aux iPod into a cassette tape machine on my car. That's how old this thing is. I'd sit there and I'd listen to a motivational track like, be the hero of your own movie. If your life was a movie, and today was the very opening scene of the movie where your life is just a fucking disaster, what would you do? And that gave me enough motivation to do that job. And in particular, this job I'm thinking of is when I worked in a chicken factory. I'd be freezing cold, I'd go in, and I was on an assembly line, and we process thousands of chickens a day. So basically, when you're on an assembly line, you can't slack off. You have to be present the entire time. Because if you stop, everybody else has to stop too. And then the whole thing shuts down. And to keep chicken good from spoiling from going bad, you're basically in a very deep regulated room where it's very cold. So you're in a fucking fridge all day. I was covered in blood, shit, feathers, and then I did that while also going to college. Because this is how I was able to pay for college, right? Now, I didn't want that to be my life, but it was for years. But because of all that hard work I put in, I saved up enough money. I learned
learning enough skills. And the hours I had after work, instead of escaping into video games or going on YouTube or social media and just wasting hours of my time, I found a way out, and I haven't had a job in 6 years. And I say this with a preface. I'm not trying to sound pretentious, like, oh, I'm better than you. No, I'm not. That's my point. I was in the same position as you. I was working a job in, like, I didn't believe in myself. I was having really dark thoughts. You know, I wanted status. I wanted money. I wanted girls to like me. I wanted cool friends. I wanted to be able to go to concerts and get a nicer car than my old beat up fucking soundtrack. I wanted all these things, but I had to create a system in order to get it. And the main things that were required of me were time and energy. That's it. I didn't have money. I started out with no money. I didn't have rich parents, even my college degree. I saved up my money, spent pretty much everything I had to go to college. And then I graduated and I realized I don't even want to do this shit. And then I ended up working as a forest firefighter for about because I was escaping the reality that if I went back home and I got a job in the trade I just graduated in, which is drilling and blasting, I probably would have done that for the next 40 years. 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night traffic, standing in mud all day, drilling holes in the earth. That was going to be my life. And all I would have had to look forward to would have been hanging out with my friends on the weekends, drinking beers. That's a shit system. I wanted to look your life like it's a system, right? Because that's what I did. I was like, all right, this is a system. There's a set of hours I wake up. There's an hour I go to sleep. There's an hour I eat lunch, I eat dinner. But most of us, we let other people dictate our system for us. You know, when you're a kid, you wake up and your parents tell you to. You go to bed when your parents tell you. You go to school at a certain time. You get home from school at a certain time. You get picked up from school when the bus arrives. Not when you want it to be there, but when the bus comes, right? And when it comes to jobs and work, there's a set amount of hours you have to show up and do your job to get money. And that money allows you to pay rent, allows you to pay for tuition to go to school, it allows you to save up a little bit so you can move out of your parents' house, or invest in yourself and start a business doing something on the side and do that long enough that you can actually switch from your current job to that, right? These are all systems. Okay? But for whatever reason, you kind of just let society take a hold of your system. You don't work out in the morning. Why? Oh, I'm tired. You're tired. Aren't you tired of being tired? Your job starts at 9. Well, I gotta wake up at 7:30, drive there for an hour. Well, why can't you wake up a little earlier? Why can't you wake up at 6? Oh, well, because I'm tired because I stay up till 9 and 10. Well, if you went to bed at 9, then you'd get your 8 hours of sleep and still be able to wake up at 6. Then you can work up 4. Oh, well, I guess that means, again, this is a system. I just solved it in 30 seconds, right? But here's what most people do. They let the system control their life. You're controlled by the people around you, right? What do your coworkers do? Well, they go home, eat food, watch Netflix, go on social media, and then wait till the next thing starts. That's it, okay? Most people, they don't even invite people to hang out. They just wait for others to invite them. So basically, you only go out when your friends invite you out. Maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's Halloween, maybe there's a concert. You get a text, yeah, I guess I'll come. And besides that, what do you actually do? You have set up your life as a system where it feeds your online addiction, social media and YouTube. And get this, okay? You might say, well, I'm not addicted to social media. All right, what would qualify being an addiction? If you were doing something for 4 hours a day and it was not making you money, it was destroying your mental health, it was isolating and alienating you from everybody else, would you consider that an addiction? Because I would. However, when it comes to YouTube and social media, it's not an addiction. Why? Well, everybody else does it. It's because everybody else is addicted to it. Because everybody else is stuck in this system where they go to a job, they and they numb themselves for hours afterwards. Okay? But that's a choice you make. When you get off of work, you have a couple of hours. And those hours are your chance at escaping this life environment. I was working in the factory. I'm fine. Sometimes a lot later, actually. It's actually, with the factory job, it was much more than that. It was like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because I would clean up after. I'd be like one of the last guys to leave. So that didn't give me much time, man. I had maybe 2 or 3 hours at the end of the day. I was researching what college program am I going to, where I could get a certificate, a degree, a diploma, where I could get $80,000 to $100,000 a year. More than I was making at Chicago, right? I researched it, found it, I applied for it, and I went back. I started an online business doing YouTube compilation videos, right? While I was in school, I was still working at that. And when I had lunch, I'd watch these videos on like UFC highlights, podcasts, stuff like that. And I'm like, wait, what if I cut all these up and I put them together and I make like automation videos? Because I watch these videos anyways. Why don't I just make them? So I learned how to do it. I started making money on YouTube, making compilation videos. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I'm doing something I enjoy, making money online. This is fucking great. And then I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I don't need this job because I've made enough money doing YouTube videos. You know, a lot of people say, well, I want to be a YouTuber. Okay, you want to work in a factory? Fucking enjoy it, bro. I have not, for the last several years, thought once, wow, I should have stuck in that factory. I should have stayed on the construction site. This YouTube online money, running a business, oh, what a stupid decision. Absolutely not. Again, you don't know what you don't know. Before, I thought to start a business, you had to like open up a store and sell coffee or some shit. You just need a contract. If you want to learn how to make money as a YouTuber, you can click 2-hour tutor subscription. I have my full course on like how to make several $1,000s a month, if not multiple $1,000s a month, like 10, 20, 30K. Just talking to the camera, making videos like this. And the fact you watch my videos means you know exactly what I'm doing, I'm just making videos. Right? I mean, there's a lot more to it that you don't see because you don't know what you're doing. But if you want to do what I'm doing, I highly encourage you to check out 2-hour tutor. Okay? But there's other things you can do too. I have a bunch of friends that lost their jobs during smoke. Okay? So a couple years ago, a bunch of my friends, some of them early 20s, some of them late 20s, they were screwed. Their businesses went under. They were stuck inside. They needed to make money. They had bills to pay. So they had to change their system. Okay? They needed to find a way to make money. So they got into online sales. They started to learn skills, persuasion, negotiation, things that you can do, talking person to person, and then get paid really good for it. And yeah, it was scary first because, you know, you had to quit your job. You had to dedicate those precious 3 or 4 hours you have at the end of the day that you programmed in to relax. You have to take those 3 or 4 precious hours of yours, give us and put them towards something that's going to be a little bit tougher first because you don't want to spend those 3 or 4 hours working on something like learning a new skill or getting a job. You'd rather be comfortable and safe on Discord, playing video games, scrolling on your phone. Oh, let me watch this 10K on YouTube video. Ah, okay. I tried dropship. So anyways, I went to friends. They successfully transitioned to different careers. You know, I had one friend, he went back and became an electrician. He just got his red seal. So now, on weekends, he does his own side jobs. And he has a guy working under him. He gets paid fucking thousands of dollars. He pays a guy like $20 an hour or whatever to do the work. He just kind of supervises. He takes the profit because he put in those years of working as an electrician, put in enough hours to get his red seal. And he can afford to take that risk because he worked for years and saved up money, right? That's my point. If you don't have money, don't spend it. But you know what you don't also want to spend? Your time. This is your greatest resource right now. Like literally what you have right now. This time and this energy is what's going to help your system. Okay? So some action steps here. Number 1, write down what the fuck you want. Do you want to be a musician? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you want to be an insurance salesman? Do you want to be a lawyer? Whatever it is, decide. Okay? And if you're one of those guys that's like, well, I don't know what I want to do. You're indecisive. I get it. Well, think about the outcome you want. Let's say you don't know what you want to do. What do you want? Do you want to move out from your parents' house? Yeah. Do you want to afford to live by yourself so you don't have to deal with roommates with dirty dishes and shit like that? Yeah. Okay. How much is rent in your city? Okay, so this much money. $2 grand. All right. Well, if rent in my city is $2 grand, then I need to make more than $2 grand. Because I also got to pay for food. I also got to pay for my car. I have one. Phone bill. I want to save some money. So let's say, okay, you need to make $4 grand. Why not 5? Why not 6? Okay, well, how do I make that extra money? 'Cause my current job only pays this much. Get a new fucking job. Wow. And if you're one of those guys that say, well, the job market's tough, I get it. What about the hours you're not working? Learn an online skill. On weekends, take a side gig. Pick up some shifts at a bar. As a server. I have one friend, he referees fucking soccer games. I have another guy that found a dude on Facebook Marketplace that just needs help with moving stuff. There's so many things to do. You can learn how to fucking design websites. Call local businesses. Hey, I'll make a website for you. You know, like, there's so many things to do. So you do that for a while. Save up enough. All of a sudden, you're making enough money to hit the open anymore. Well, I wanted my own place. Wanted my own car. Now I got my own apartment. That's fucking amazing. Now you think, okay, I want bigger, I want a house, I want a girlfriend, I want to start a family. Well, I'm gonna need to make more money. Are you gonna stay in your comfort zone with that safe little job you have now? Or are you gonna be like, I don't have time for bigger things. I don't have time to go into. I need to spend those hours making money. You can also do that. You know what? I make pretty good money on the job, but I don't really like it. So maybe your priority is not, I need to make more money. Your priority is, I want something that I actually enjoy. You know, a lot of guys, they're working night shifts where their shift starts at 7 p.m. and they finish 6 a.m. You know how much that costs for your health long term? That's sleeping schedule. You do it because the money's good. But what if you made the same money? You didn't have to work in that shift. You work in the day, you become a normal person. That's the goal. All you have to do is build the system. You just gotta write down what it is. The next thing is to have like a weekly schedule or a daily time. Okay? 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., all the way till bedtime, 9 p.m. or 10. Write it all down, hour by hour, block by block, what you're gonna actually do during the day. Now, I have 3 resources available. If you need a timetable or weekly/daily schedule to fill out, you can join my free group, Socialize. There's links in the description. Go to the classroom tab, and then in there, there's literally resources you can print out right now. So as soon as the video is done, you print it out, fill it out. Okay? You need to identify what these blocks are in the day, times and availability. Once you know when your free time is, then you can assign things to. Okay, I got 45. I go to bed at 10. I have to eat. All right, well, I get all my groceries 1 day a week. So that way, I don't have to waste time going to the grocery store. Okay, they're all in the fridge. Takes me an hour to cook. I'll eat at 7 o'clock. From 5 until 7. Don't be the guy that's the fucking cliche, gets off work, takes the food sauce, on the couch, boom, right into it. That's 2 hours gone. And if you do that every day for a week, that's 10 hours. What if you took those 10 hours and you're like, I'm gonna use these hours to build this business? All right, well, I have to learn accounting. I have to learn, e-commerce, learn graphic design, whatever it is to learn. Or you go on Craigslist, you go on Teachers, you go on fucking Facebook Marketplace, Indeed, all these different websites where they have different jobs available. And you apply for it. You call, hey, I'm looking for a part-time job, looking for something a week. That's all right. You create a system where you can assign your hours to do certain tasks. Okay. Now, after that, which is gonna be the boring part, because again, now you know what you want, you know what your hours are. All you have to do is this. Oh man, Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Oh, you know what? I worked on our last couple of days. No, you don't. You can have a fucking day off when you have your fun, when you have your house, when you have your girlfriend, when you have your social circle, when you have your hobby at a level that you're proud of. Then you can relax. You're not there. Get the fuck off YouTube. Delete Instagram. Delete Twitter. You don't need any of that shit. Like, I hear some guys say, well, I need it for business. Okay, you can use it if you have a business, but you're not using it. With YouTube, I don't really watch my phone. I have 2 channels on. Besides that, I just upload and I get right off. Post and goes. If I can do it, okay. Now, the next step, after you execute it for a long time, is create time. Now you have it. Okay, so you can essentially decide, well, I work 4 days a week. So fine. If you work 3 days a week, in a certain jobs, you can actually work 2 days a week. Like firefighters, you have 24-hour shifts, 2 days a week, 5 days off. Right? Thursday, 16 hours. Construction, usually 12 hours. It's really hardcore. You don't have to work it. And then those extra days off, again, you can relax, you can go fishing, you can hang with your friends, you can pull apart girls. You need to learn how to get a girlfriend, date, get into relationships, build social circles. You can join Socialize School. It's a paid community. You can search below. We've actually helped thousands of guys. Check out this photo of everybody that we've helped. This is just the last month. So this actually works. So looking to fix that, like dating, social skills, you join Socialize School. But you have spare time now. So now you can assign tasks and things that you want to do in your spare time. Right? Well, Saturday, I have a whole day off. There's this concert in town I can go to. I can go hang out with friends. Okay, let me text my friends, see which one of them wants to hang out. 8 a.m. I can wake up, go to the gym, and get a nice coffee. 9 a.m. Sit out there at the park. Read a fucking book, drink my coffee. You have now designed the life that you want. But maybe you want more money. Okay, I need to get a part-time job. Maybe you want to start a business. Okay, on the weekend, I'm gonna go to the coffee shop with my computer and I'm gonna fucking grind for 8 hours, like I am working. Maybe you want to learn how to be an artist. So you sign up for games, right? You just need to design a life that you love, like that you enjoy. Right? And to bring this back full circle to the beginning, I wake up 6:30 because I want to. I'm excited to get up, get in my car, go and get my breakfast, a nice local spot, eggs, bacon, sausage, delicious. I get my coffee with my cream, and then I write, I work, I handle my customer and client emails, a group. I run an online community called Socialize School. I help guys, specifically guys like 20s or 30s, they're making a good amount of money, but they just are lonely. They don't have friend groups, they can't talk to girls, they have like approach anxiety, stuff like that. They join the group, and then within 2 months, they have the result that they want. So I help those guys, right? And that feels good to me because I'm getting paid for the value I provide. I enjoy it. So when you're good at something, you enjoy doing it. And when you're good at something and other people like need help with that thing, that you do. In my case, a lot of guys, they're really struggling, so they pay me. And it feels really good because I get to do what I enjoy and I get the results there. Just like if your toilet explodes, you call a plumber, he comes in, he fixes it, he solves your problem, and you pay him a lot. So like that's what life is. And every once in a while I get these comments, people, oh, you buy my course, bro, dude, the videos are free. You're just retarded. Did you work for free? Stupid. Why don't you just come and work for free for 30 hours? Propose it. I swear. And again, this is like a classic example of learning, like a 9 to 5. They show up every day to a job somebody else pays them to do, and then they go, oh, why would you start your own business? Because I don't want to do what you have to do, man. And sometimes you have a great job, like I've been jobs before, I really enjoy it. It's chill. I remember at one point I was doing a cleaning job, I was putting my earphones, I was listening to podcasts, and I was just cleaning for hours at a time. And it was actually pretty chill. You know, so if that's you, that's fine. But that's my point. You need to build a system up where you like to do that. I have a friend that fucking loves to learn. He loves audiobooks, he loves podcasts. So you know what he does? He's a delivery driver. He does FedEx. He just fucking wakes up, has a bunch of boxes. He likes to go A to B to C. He's like, you know what? I want to go to this area of, my city. Right? It's an hour out of the way. It's like all farms. It's nice trees, forest area. I'm gonna do deliveries in this area. Puts on a podcast, an audiobook, and he just listens for hours while delivering packages. He loves it. So he has like created this system that he loves. And that's my point. You can create a system you love too. The problem is that you're afraid to start. It's gonna be hard at first. It's unknown to you. The unknown is scary. Uncertainty. Well, what if I don't like it? Yeah. You'd rather just go back on YouTube and watch another video. It's tougher, right? Just saying. I mean, how many times have I told you the exact same thing for years now? We're still here. Unless you're a new subscriber. Welcome, brother. What's up? Comment down below your age, your goals, what you're working on, and I want to see what you're up to as well. But you can create a system. You want to build a life that you enjoy showing up to. Because if you don't enjoy life right now, you have a fucking problem. That's the only thing you should be worried about. But you're looking for answers in the wrong place. Why are you on social media 4 hours a day if you get a job? Because you're escaping from your job? Oh, yeah, that's gonna make it better. Numbing yourself. Fucking idiot. In the short term, you might have to struggle a lot to build the life you want. That's how you get the life you want. You suffer now, so you don't have to suffer later, right? Spend years in construction. Didn't really think, but I'm not in trouble. Because I was willing to do that hard work, save up that money, and actually set goals and proactively for myself. That's what I did. And I did. Now looking back, it's like, man, my schedule is pretty much wide open. I do what I want. I wake up early. Sometimes I like to write. Sometimes I like to hang out with friends. Sometimes I just fucking read books all day so I can better help my clients. Or I want to learn about something random. Okay. I was reading a book the other day called Shackleton. It's about a bunch of guys that were stranded in the Arctic on a fucking boat. You think your life's hard? Try being stuck on a boat in the Arctic hundreds of years ago. Fuck, they're so sad. Anyways, I built a life I love. I designed it. You can build that lifestyle too. Now again, if you need the resources to print out, check out the free group in the description. If you need one-on-one help with me and my coaches, productivity, dating, relationships, social skills, check out Socialize School. If you want to learn how to make 10, 20K a month as a YouTuber, join 2 Hour Tutor. All the resources are there. And in the meantime, man, I just wanted to take a break from watching videos for the rest of the day. Okay. I know that you want to watch another video, or you want to go check your phone. You want to, it's the end of the day, you just got off work. Dude, just take a piece of paper, get a pencil, write down what you actually want. Write down what your hours are, and then write down the hours of free time you have so you can actually go after it. do this for like a couple weeks, a couple months straight, and your life will completely change. You just gotta cut out the video games, cut out the social media, and cut out the brain rot YouTube videos. You have several hours of free time per day, even if you work. Use those. Not to come on YouTube, playing demo. I don't have time. Shut the fuck up. Take that energy. And instead of putting it into a YouTube comment, put it on this phone. Chase your goals. And then we can all hang out, man. I want to get email from you a couple months from now. Dude, change my whole life because this one meeting. All right? I believe in you. Don't fucking let me down, okay? Then we'll get coffee over. Or McDonald's. You guys really good coffee. Peace.
If you don't want to be like everyone else, then you have to make sacrifices others aren't willing to make. That's what my mentor told me when I was in my early 20s, and it stuck with me ever since. I started out with no qualifications and no money, but still managed to become a multi-millionaire. And a big part of that was down to avoiding the 7 things I'm going to be sharing with you today. The first thing to avoid is working for only money. Imagine for a moment that you got bored, but well-paid job. You quickly start stacking some nice cash as your earnings grow. Your friends will think you're absolutely killing it, and your parents will probably be pretty proud too. However, over time, your earning potential will start to plateau. This is path A. Now, imagine instead you get a challenging but lower-paid job. You might struggle for a couple of years as you improve and adapt. You may even struggle to pay bills. Your friends will probably think you're falling behind, and your parents may not agree with the path you've taken. However, over time, your earning potential will start going through the roof. This is path B. So what's the difference between these two examples? Well, path A prioritizes money early on, whereas path B prioritizes 2 key things: skills and equity. Every self-made millionaire I know has followed path B. It's the only way to build that kind of wealth. As I mentioned, I left school at 16 with no qualifications. However, I immediately went out looking for jobs and actually got offered more than 5 opportunities. So I had a big decision to make. Which should I choose? I decided to become a carpenter's apprentice. The pay wasn't great, but I knew the skills I've learned would be extremely valuable, so I prioritized those. There was no way I was going to get equity in the business, but at least I was working for more than just money. That job taught me a lot, and although I was quit after being relentlessly bullied by the manager, I still use many of those skills today when I'm designing my best-selling brand of radio controlled planes that I sell across the world. By learning a wide range of high-income skills, it makes it almost impossible for you to ever be broke again, as you become your greatest asset. I like to think every job I had when I was younger added to my skill set like a Swiss Army knife. Nowadays, I recommend prioritizing online-based high-income skills such as copywriting, video editing, and coding. The demand for these skills is only growing, and I can speak from experience that there is a huge skill shortage at the moment. Sure, there are lots of people doing those things. However, 99% of them are just not up to standard. Honestly, your competition really isn't that tough. Now, let's move on to the second thing: equity. This just means owning a percentage of a business so you can benefit from the profits. My radio control model brand is a perfect example of this. You can gain equity in a few different ways. The most obvious way, and the way I did it, was to start the business myself. However, you can also gain it by working for it if you're extremely skilled in certain areas. This is known as sweat equity. Lastly, you can purchase equity in certain businesses, although I wouldn't recommend this as much unless you have skills that can help accelerate that business forward. My friend Simon Swift often goes around in public telling people to start their own businesses or ask for equity from their boss. While I 100% agree with the sentiment, you need to have some self-awareness with this. Firstly, it's worthwhile working with someone to gain skills before starting a business of your own. Secondly, you need to be realistic. I didn't think for a moment that I'd get equity in the carpentry business when I was an apprentice. So when you ask, make sure you have a solid case for why you deserve it and how you can add value to the business instead of just taking from it. You need to first focus on becoming someone worthy of equity. The main takeaway here is that too many people get blinded by money, forget the importance of skills and equity. This is the biggest trap. The more you obsess over earning just money, the less you'll likely make in the long run. The second thing to avoid is buying a luxury lifestyle. Picture yourself cruising through Dubai's sun-drenched streets in a bright yellow Lamborghini. You pull up to a swanky restaurant and order a $500 fillet steak without batting an eyelid. How does imagining that lifestyle make you feel? Pretty successful, right? Well, here's the truth. Most people you see living this way are far from successful. The majority are paying for cars they can't afford, taking trips to Dubai on credit cards they'll spend 5 months paying off, and ordering steaks at salt-based restaurants that leave them with a bill they can't handle. These people are living a life, pretending to be rich while drowning in debt. It's all smoke and mirrors, as it's much easier to impress others on social media than build real wealth. Seeing people live these luxury lifestyles might tempt you to start playing the flexing game too, as you feel like everyone is living a better life than you. However, this is far from the reality. In fact, 37% of Americans can't afford unexpected expenses over $400. 39% worry they can't pay their bills, and 60% of American households can't afford to buy a new car. Once you've made your millions, you can buy whatever you want. That's the point of becoming wealthy. However, in the early days, you can't live like a king and build wealth at the same time. Instead of buying depreciating items like flashy cars, designer clothes, and dining in expensive restaurants, invest in assets such as stocks, shares, crypto, and real estate. These assets will increase in value and generate income that you can then use to do whatever you want. The third thing to avoid is doing everything yourself. You might be really great at what you do, but no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to outcompete a group of talented people working together. Look at anyone who's made big in sports or business. If you do some digging, you'll see they all have help. Let's take Elon Musk as an example. On the surface, it might appear like he's a genius entrepreneur who's achieved everything single-handedly. However, that can be further from the truth. He was part of the group that launched PayPal. When eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion in 2002, these newly wealthy tech experts spread across the industry like a virus. Now they're known as the PayPal Mafia, as they become such a powerful group. After leaving PayPal, they started many successful companies. These include big names like YouTube, Yelp, LinkedIn, and SpaceX. They often invest in each other's projects and give advice. But what if you're not aiming to launch the next billion-dollar company? Instead, just want to earn some extra money with a side hustle? Well, a lot of older business owners are kind of lost when it comes to everything tech-based and using the internet for their company. I mean, a lot of them don't even know there's online tools for literally everything. Whether it's managing your team, handling invoices, keeping track of projects, or even building a website. I don't blame them, as back in the day, we didn't have any of these things, but now the younger generation has a real advantage. So for these older business owners don't know how to do a lot of this online stuff, and they understand they can't do everything themselves. Guess who they need? You. You can help them bring their businesses into the 21st century and make a lot of money in the process. It's all well and good saying this, but how can you actually do it? Well, if you want to give this a try, then I'd recommend using an all-in-one management platform. Odoo is a great choice as it includes the tools I just mentioned in more all in one place. Here's a great example of a website that needs a proper update. It looks like it was built over 10 years ago. Let's jump on Odoo and make something more up to date. So I'm going to go over here and select the e-commerce app option. Now let's build it in. I want a business website, there we go, and I want my gardening business. After this, I've got the option to choose my color palette here, but instead, I'm just going to add their logos that Odoo just builds a palette based on their brand colors. Now we've got to pick a theme. All these look pretty good, so let's go with this one. I can use the drag and drop feature to easily edit the page and customize images. They also have this cool AI tool to help me out with words. Let's fast forward about 30 minutes and I'll have something pretty cool to show you. It's way better than the old website, in my opinion. You can make some serious cash helping out older business owners with all the different apps on Odoo, or even use it to manage your own business. I reached out to Odoo to see if they wanted to sponsor this portion of the video. They agreed and are also giving you your first application free for life with unlimited to support and host it. And the cherry on top, Odoo offers a personalized domain name for 1 year. So if you want to give this a try, then check out the link in the description. The fourth thing to avoid is having too many inputs. Do you ever feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions? This happens with everything in life, from side hustles to fitness training. Everyone seems to have a different opinion on what you should be focusing on. It can look a little bit like this. This is you, and these are the people telling you what they think you should be focusing on. For the sake of simplicity, let's just call them inputs. All these inputs create hundreds of paths you could follow, like becoming a doctor, entrepreneur, joining a family business, getting a stable 9-to-5 job, traveling, and having a family. Let's call these your potential paths. The sheer number of these pathways creates something called cognitive overload, which is where your brain simply can't cope with the overwhelming amount of information and choices. So what's the solution? Well, I've always started with my end destination in mind and worked backwards. Of course, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in the future. However, I had a decent idea. I then made sure that I only listen to inputs that help me reach those targets. The clearer your goal, the easier it becomes to select the right inputs to help you achieve it. So limit the number of opinions you receive and prioritize quality over quantity. Most people have too many opinions being thrown at them, not from experts. Cut out general opinions and instead seek expert advice. This could come from a mentor, someone successful in your field, or even educational video from experts like myself. By doing this, you'll get more valuable, focused, and specific guidance for your end goal. Remember, even when you work your way backwards, you still don't need to know everything at once. Fully listen and implement what you learn from an input. And then when you're facing another challenge, you can seek out more inputs that'll help you overcome it. If you don't do this, then you'll get mental fatigue, which can lead to decision paralysis, when you find yourself unable to take action or move forward. Some people might even mistake this for being lazy, but in reality, your brain just gets overwhelmed. The big thing to avoid is being ego-driven. Let me start by saying this. Arrogant people won't even finish this video. I don't think they already know everything, so don't bother sticking around. But that's exactly the problem. Arrogance blinds you to the opportunities that genuinely change your life. Ego-driven people are often too focused on the big picture, constantly dreaming of the end goal. This might sound productive, but it's a dangerous trap. When you're always looking too far ahead, you end up overlooking the small but crucial steps that lead to true success. For example, some might be tempted to scroll through this video just to see all 7 things rather than sitting down and actually absorbing the knowledge in each one. But by doing so, they miss out on the valuable insights that can fast-track their journey. When you're too egotistical, you start to believe that you don't need advice from others, especially those who might know more than you. You might dismiss the wisdom of people who have already walked the path that you're trying to take. But here's the truth. True wealth isn't just about being confident. It's about having the humility to keep learning, to understand that you don't know it all. And that's where the real growth happens. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. This is called the iceberg principle. What you know is just the tip of the iceberg. A massive chunk of knowledge is underneath the surface. That's what truly matters. Arrogance makes you forget what's even there. In short, arrogance is a silent wealth collapse. It convinces you that you're too good to learn, too smart to listen, and too important to take small steps that lead to greatness. The sixth thing to avoid is passing the blame. One of my favorite Chinese proverbs is, the man who blames others has a long way on the journey to go. The man who blames himself is halfway there. The man who blames no one is already arrived. In front of me, I have 2 objects, a magnifying glass and a mirror. In life, you're going to have to choose to reach for either of these on a daily basis. You might be thinking, oh, it's not bad, but let me explain. If you choose to pick up the magnifying glass, it gives you the ability to hyper-focus on other people. This is a dangerous path, but it leads to the blame game. Look, I do kind of get it. When anything goes wrong in life, it's natural to want to pass the blame onto someone else. Anyone but yourself. I'm sure there's been times when you blamed your teacher for a test you failed, even though you spent more time binge watching Netflix than actually studying. Or maybe you passed the blame on to traffic for being late, even though you left the house 10 minutes later than you should have. But here's the thing, these small instances of blame don't stay small. Over time, they grow into a habit that's hard to break free from. I'm sure you've seen people say stuff like, the government hates young people. The system is rigged against people like me. My boss doesn't like me. I'm not rich enough to start a business. And life didn't give me the right opportunities. The more you reach for the magnifying glass, the bigger your excuses become. However, if you pick the mirror, then you instead focus on the stuff you can actually control, your own thoughts and actions. So to embody the wisdom of the Chinese proverb, to be the person who's already arrived at their destination, you need to pick up the mirror, not the magnifying glass. The 7th thing to avoid is staying static. This is your comfort zone, where you retreat seeking safety and security. Notice how there are no gaps in this circle, almost like a self-imposed prison with no way out and no way to grow. If you're currently here, then you're not alone. According to some studies, over half of Brits don't leave their comfort zone, and 45% of them are worried that one day they might regret it. So what can you do to break out of this prison? Well, you need to expand the circle. This can be really difficult, and our minds are conditioned to avoid taking risks, but it's something I learned at an early age. Let me show you how I did it. When I was younger, my comfort zone was narrow. School, studying subjects I wasn't good at, like maths and English. The traditional education system didn't suit me. I didn't want to be a banker, doctor, or lawyer. I wanted something more hands-on. So I stepped out of my comfort zone to seek the apprenticeship I mentioned earlier. This created a new space for me, but I wasn't satisfied there. I knew I needed more from life, so I started experimenting with side hustles, which pushed me further into unfamiliar territory. Suddenly, the world was full of possibilities. The next step was clear: starting my own business. This was a pivotal moment, requiring a big risk, a bank loan. It was the best decision that I ever made. To expand my empire further, I travelled to China in search for a manufacturer of my own brand of radio control models. Despite the language and cultural barriers, I managed to build valuable connections. I ran my business for many years and enjoyed success, but eventually I felt complacent. My family was happy, my bank was happy, but my mind wasn't. I wanted more. So I expanded my comfort zone again and started posting videos on YouTube at the age of 53. I'd seen so many people on YouTube faking it, so I wanted to share my knowledge and help others who, like me, didn't fit the traditional path. Or those who wanted to grow their wealth and feel more secure in life. Remember, you can expand your comfort zone as much as you want. This space is infinite, but you have to claim it for yourself. If you don't push beyond your current boundary, you'll miss out on all the possibilities that could have been yours. If you want to know what to do every time you get paid, then I'll leave that video right up there, but don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe if you want to grow your wealth, okay? I'll see you over there.
I was told that between 10,000 hours and anything you can master it.
Well, that's wrong. This idea undermines this broader toolbox that you need for long-term development. If you're doing that, you're missing opportunities.
David Epstein is a New York Times bestselling author whose implements work challenges the conventional wisdom about specialization,
Productivity.
what it takes to become successful.
What advice would you give to a person that's thinking about how to get away to being bigger someday?
First of all, being a scientist of your own development and creating what's called a self-regulatory practice.
What is that?
So it's like a flex, what you need to work on, plan, promote the experiment, or how you can work on it. Is that a job to take a class, monitor, and then evaluate. And people who do that repeatedly, they just keep improving. So for anything you're doing, if you're not 15-20% of the time failing, then you're not in your zone of optimal, where you're getting one better than possible.
What about focus? I get distracted easily. I want to be more productive in the time that I spend working.
Don't start your day with now. It's been shocking to look at the research how big of an impairment that is.
What about notifications?
So if you're getting distracted all the time, you say, well, now I really have to come down, I'm going to notifications. You will start self-interrupting to maintain and interrupt which you have become accustomed to.
Really?
Yeah, that will go away, but not immediately. But there's a lot of things that you can do for a productive day. For example, if you that has enormous influence to people.
I've been here on social media talking about some of the dangers of specialism.
Yes. But studies found if you're a certain cardiac condition and most esteemed specialists are away, you're less likely to die.
Gosh, so funny.
The conclusion is that because
This is a sentence I never thought I'd say in my life. We've just hit 7 million subscribers on YouTube, and I want to say a huge thank you to all of you that show up here every Monday and Thursday to watch our conversations. From the bottom of my heart, but also on behalf of my team, who you don't always get to meet. There's almost 50 people now behind the Diary of a CEO worked to put this together. So from all of us, thank you so much. We did a raffle last month, and we gave away prizes for people that subscribed to the show until 7 million subscribers. And you guys love that raffle so much that we're going to continue it. So every single month, we're giving away money can't buy prizes, including meetings with me, invites to our events, and £1,000 gift vouchers to anyone that subscribes to the Diary of a CEO. There's now more than 7 million of you. So if you make the decision to subscribe today, you can be one of those lucky people. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's get to the conversation. It's the work that you do and why you do it. And who are you really doing it for?
I am obsessed with curious, but either doesn't have a scientific background or doesn't have that particular scientific background. Curious, but interested in self-improvement, but doesn't either have the time or the means to go sit through this evidence himself.
And what is this realms of self-improvement that you have focused on this far in your career?
Earlier on, I was focused on physical skill acquisition, like in athletics, but increasingly, I've moved into career and personal development generally, and looking at that with a very, very kind of long lens, right? So one of the most important things to me, one of the most important messages that I've been working on the last few years is the fact that sometimes optimizing for short-term development will undermine your long-term development. So let's say if we're thinking about sports or music or something like that, the easiest thing to do is to get a head start wherever you can pick something, stick with it, don't switch things, because then you lost time. Focus very nearly, do so-called deliberate practice, right? That's not playing around, that's not experimenting, that's effortful, cognitively engaged correction, and do as much of it as you possibly can to the exclusion of other things. That's such an obvious way, right? And you will jump out to a lead, right? We see that in sports and music, we see that in school with certain head start programs that give people an advantage in some academic skills. The problem is that kind of narrow focus creates short-term results, but undermines this broader toolbox that you need for long-term development. And so you'll see what's known as called fade out in these advantages, which isn't necessarily actually anything going away. It's the fact that people with this broader base will catch up and surpass. So it appears to be.
So if you take more time to get a broader understanding of something, whether it's in sports, because you're a child prodigy, over the long term, that's going to benefit you better and help sustain your development. But in the short term, you might lose out because there's some kid who is doing, really deliberate practice obsessively. And he's going to have it's kind of like the tortoise in the hare analogy, where the tortoise eventually wins the race.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big body of research in psychology that can be summarized with the phrase breadth of training gets breadth of transfer. Okay, transfer is the ability of someone to take skills and knowledge and use it to solve a problem they haven't seen before. Right? You transfer it to a new situation. And what predicts your ability to do that is the breadth of problems you've been exposed to in practice. If you're exposed to like a broader set of problems, you're forced to build these generalizable, flexible models that you'll be able to apply to new things going forward.
Across all your work, at the very heart of what people are trying to achieve in their lives, what is that? At the very, very heart of what you're speaking to?
Getting better at things, right? Obviously, people want success, but I think there's pretty significant research showing that people are often actually reacting to their trajectory as much as their actual absolute performance level. That the feeling of improvement, the feeling of moving on, it gives them some sense of fulfillment, right? And eventually, obviously, will get them to a high level. And so I think really this is for people who are interested in how do I get off sort of my plateaus going forward, and viewing it as a lifelong journey as opposed to trying to peak when they're 12. Right? It turns out that the way to make the best 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old is not the same as the way to make the best 10-year-old.
Is that sort of a tie with the subject of just happiness and having a happy life?
Fulfillment, for sure.
Yeah.
Those aren't exactly the same, but they're important. So think about this in a career development perspective, right? I think probably the most interesting research on fulfillment in careers was this project at Harvard called the Dark Horse Project. And this was looking at how do people find, a lot of these people were very financially successful and all that stuff, but the dependent variable was fulfillment, right? Sense of fulfillment. And when people would come in for certain orientation in this study, they would say things to the researchers like, I started off doing this one thing, medical school, whatever, didn't really fit me, so I went over to this other thing. I learned I was good at something I didn't expect, so I went in this other direction. And don't tell people to do what I did. It's like I came out of nowhere. And the large majority of people, that was their story. That's why it became named the Dark Horse Project. Dark Horse is this expression that means coming out of nowhere. And the norm in this day and age was that people who found fulfillment would travel this kind of zigzagging path where they would learn maybe I'm good at something or bad at something that I didn't expect. They were interested in something I didn't expect, and they would keep pivoting. And they'd say, instead of saying, here's the person younger than you who has more than me, they say, here's where I am right now. Here are my skills and interests. Here are the opportunities in front of me. I'm going to try this one. Maybe I'll change here from not several years. And they keep doing those pivots throughout their career until they achieve what times called better match quality. That's the degree of fit between someone's interests and abilities and the work that they do. Turns out to be extremely important for both your performance and sense of fulfillment. And your grit, if you want to talk about that.
So just on that, before we move on to grit, what advice does that then mean you would give to a young person starting their career that's thinking about how to navigate their way to being really competent, really good at something, successful in any sort of monetary way, but also maintaining fulfillment throughout their life?
I think there are two main things to take away from that. One is to not over-focus on long-term planning. Like I think we lionize having long-term goals, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having long-term goals. But those aren't necessarily always so useful for you in the moment, right? When I think about myself when I was competing in the year run, I got a time goal in the race. That didn't help me actually do anything. That just, you see the clock when you're done, and you're either happy or sad. Having goals that are, let me try moving in 3 years to go, that gives you an external experiment. So short-term planning, I think, is one of the takeaways. And creating what's called a self-regulatory practice. So self-regulatory learning means basically thinking about your own thinking, taking accountability for your own learning. And some of the coolest studies in self-regulatory learning actually came out of soccer football, done in the Netherlands, where this woman named Ryle Frank Denzer was following just the age of 12, right? Up through, some of them went on teams that, were runners-up in the World Cup. And what she'd see in the kids who got off performance plateaus, there were certain physiological measures someone had that. Like if a kid couldn't hit at least 7 meters a second sprinting, which isn't that fast, but they couldn't hit, they weren't making it without that. So there were physiological parameters. But also the kids who would get off performance plateaus are the ones where if you look at them in video when they're younger, they're saying, going to the trainer like, why are we doing this drill? I think I can do this already. I think they need to work on this other thing. And then sometimes the trainer would be like, just get back in line, But these are the kids that are thinking about what they need to work on, what they're good at. They're making this cycle. The self-regulatory cycle is reflect. What are you good or bad at? What do you need to work on? How do you do that? Plan. Come up with an experiment for how you can work on that. Monitor, a way to try to measure whether objectively or subjectively. And then evaluate. Did that experiment that I ran work and make me better at this thing or not? And people who do that repeatedly, they just keep improving. And I think that's what the dark horses are doing in their careers. They're saying, I'm reflecting what I've got. I'm planning a way to test something that'll fit me. I monitor it, maybe subjectively, maybe objectively. And I evaluate what that tells me to do for the next step. And you just get better and better.
So if I'm, say I'm in my early 20s of my career, how do I take that and then implement that within my life to make sure that I'm going to get to the World Cup metaphorically speaking?
Yeah, so there's something interesting about the 20s that I think is worth saying. There's this finding psychology called the end of history illusion. And this is the finding that we always underestimate how much we will change. What we think we're good at, what we think we're bad at, how we want to spend our time, what we prioritize in friends, etc. And At every step in life, people underestimate how much they'll change in the future. Change continues for your whole life. It does slow down. So we're constantly works in progress, claiming to be finished, constantly through life. The fastest time a personality changes is about 18 to about 28. When you're telling, but it never stops. But that's about the fastest time. When we're telling people, hey, now you have that figured out, right? And that's when they're changing like crazy. And so I think it's even more important to have this self-regulatory practice. In a journal, I would say, I mean, I do it. These questions can be basic. What am I trying to do? Why? What do I need to learn to do it? Who do I need to help me learn? How am I going to make sure that person is there to help me? What experiment can I set up to try it? And then come back and evaluate the experiment and take the next one. Being a scientist of your own development, I think it's counterintuitive because you would think that we would just internalize this stuff just from doing things. But the science is pretty clear that we don't get everything we can out of our experiences from a learning perspective unless we're doing more specific. So I would recommend for someone in their 20s to start to self-regulatory practice.
What got you into the work that you do? How do you define your profession?
Okay, so in my past life I was trained to be a scientist, environmental scientist. I was like living up in the Arctic studying carbon cycle like an attempt. And I did a competitive runner. I had a training partner who was one of the top ranked guys in the 800 meters in his age group in the country. First, family Jamaican immigrants, was going to be the first one to graduate college, dropped dead a few steps after a race. And now we're sort of hometown papers, so well, he had a heart attack. Well, I don't even know what that means for someone of that age and health, right? And I got curious. And eventually I kind of worked up the courage, or whatever, that sounds silly to say that way, but was nervous about it. To ask his family to sign a waiver allowing me to get out of his medical records. Did that. Turned out he had like a textbook case of this disease caused by a single genetic mutation. It's almost always the cause of young athletes dropping dead. And I said, we can save some people from this, make more awareness. And I decided to merge my interest in sports and science. So I want to write about subject matter athletes for Sports Illustrated, which I grew up with. So I got off the science track, I left after my master's. Kind of leave my way to Sports Illustrated. I got in there as a temp. Pitched the story about subject matter athletes. They're like, temp, sit down, right? And then the Olympic marathon trials for 2008 US team came to Central Park, and the guy ran fifth in the country, dropped dead like 10 blocks from our office. And they said, don't you know something about this? And so, in a week I was able to write a cover story making it look like we'd done like 2 years of research in a week and became the science writer at Sports Illustrated. It was interesting. I came in as a temp 6-7 years behind people who were younger than me, doing sort of more remedial work for them. But I realized pretty soon that my oddball background, right? I think it's shaping up to be like a typical average scientist. But if you take those average science skills and you bring them to sports magazines, like Nobel laureate. And so I realized I could just make my own ground instead of having to use anything. But the additional impetus for getting this merger of sports and science was a personal tragedy.
How do you define yourself from a great perspective? Are you a writer? Are you a scientist?
I view myself as this merger between science writer and investigative reporter. Because what really fires me up is when I view that there's a really popular misconception about something really important to human development. And that's what led to Range. I mean, I was at Sports Illustrated. The 10,000 hours rule work was the most famous science and human development perhaps ever in terms of popular consumption. And I said, well, I'm going to write about it. And then I started reading the research and saying, this is wrong. It's the most popular finding in our field, maybe the most popular skill acquisition human development research ever done, and it is not right. And so these things kind of stick in my brain.
10,000 hours, what is that for someone that's never heard about it before?
Yeah. And when people think about it, like, depends where they have heard of it, if they've heard of it. But it's the idea, and scientists really call it a deliberate practice framework. But it's this idea that the only route to true expertise is through 10,000 hours of so-called deliberate practice, which is this effortful, cognitively engaged, like not just swatting balls at the driving range, you're focusing on correcting errors kind of practice. And that there's no such thing as talent differences. It's really just a manifestation of 10,000 hours of differences in your own hours of practice. So you should start as early as possible. There's something underlying it, it's a little nerdy, but called the monotonic benefits assumption. Scientists not going to win any marketing competitions, but that basically means that the idea that 2 people at the same level of performance will progress the same amount for the same unit of deliberate practice. Also false, and it's one of the underlying premises of 10,000.
Yeah, because I've always heard that means become a bit of a colloquial phrase to say you don't put your 10,000 hours in, which means you don't put enough practice to become a master. I was told that if you do 10,000 hours in anything, you become a master in it. So it's a kind of narrative, right? Well, to take some chess research, for example, there's people have been tracked, and it takes about 11,053 hours on average to reach international master status in chess. So that's one level down from grandmaster. So first of all, 10,000 hours in that case would be a little low. But some people made it in 3,000 hours because they learn a little bit more quickly. Other people were continuing to be tracked past 20,000 hours and they still hadn't made it. So you can have an 11,053 hours rule on the average. Doesn't actually tell you anything about the breadth of human skill. So why is that so important for me to understand? How does that liberate me from wasting my time or aiming at the wrong thing?
Well, fit turns out to be really important. So people learn different races and different things. So finding where you learn better is really important if you want to maximize your advantages. And I think that goes back to one of the reasons why people need to try a bunch of different things. Because your insight into yourself is really limited by your roster of experiences, right? And so you kind of need to figure out where you have comparative advantage. But for a lot of people, that's so-called skill stacking, where instead of doing the one thing for 10,000 hours, you get proficient in a number of things that overlap them in a way that makes you very unique. And so this idea of just head down doing the same thing. I mean, should we go back all the way and talk about the research underlying 10,000 hours? Because that's where I first got on this. So I was a walk-on meaning I wasn't good enough to get recruited as an Nathan Beater runner in college, and I ended up being part of the university record holding relay. So I went from being nobody to being quite good. And so I was inclined to believe it's 10,000 hours. Yeah, just my hard work. And then when I started reading the research, and I'm looking through the original paper written in 1993. And the original paper was done on 30 violinists, 30 violinists at a world-class music academy. Okay, so let's start dissecting the problems here. The first problem was what's called restriction of range. These people were already in a world-class music academy, already highly pre-selected. Pre-selected for something, again, it's here, that is correlated with your dependent variable, which is skill. That's a problem if you're trying to develop a general skill development framework. That would be like, to give an analogy, if I did a study of what causes basketball skill, and I used it as my subjects only centers in the NBA, and I said, well, height has no effect on skill in the NBA because they're all 7 feet tall, so I squashed the variation in the variable. So in my first book, I actually did an analytics project where I took height among American male adults and height in the NBA. As you might imagine, there's a very high positive correlation between the height of an American male and their chance of scoring points in the NBA. But if you restrict the range to only players already in the NBA, the correlation turns negative because guards score more points than other positions. So if you didn't know that, if you just did that study with only NBA players, you would tell parents to have shorter children to have them score more points in the NBA. So when you don't bring some sense of what's going on to your research and you restrict range that way, you can end up with the wrong message. Aside from that,
guards score more points or less points?
They score more points and they're shorter. Right? So if you don't look at the whole population and you just look at people who are so highly pre-screened they're already at the top, you can end up with these sort of backward advice. The other issue that caught my eye when I first read the study was that they only reported the average. 10,000 hours was the average number of hours of deliberate practice by the 10 best violinists by the age of 20. And then there was a second group and a lower group, and they said there was complete correspondence, meaning nobody who would practice few hours was better than anyone who would practice more hours. But they only included the average, so I couldn't tell that. So I said, I would like to know if that's true. Can I see the data to see if that's true? And I contacted Anders Ericsson, a wonderful guy who was the father of 10,000 hour rule. He hated that moniker actually. And I said, can I see the data or the measures of variance to know how much variation there was between individuals? And he said, well, people were inconsistent on the repeated accounts of their practice, so we don't think that's important. I said, well, everyone has trouble with getting good data. That doesn't mean they don't report a measure of variance. So after I started criticizing this research, 20 years after the study came out, they did a paper updating it with some of the actual data, and you could see the original hear the real story, which was that there were actually people who were practicing less and doing better than people practicing more. So they're all one problem after another. I just said, I'm getting youth sports pitches, I'm getting investment pitches, like citing the 10,000 hours rule. It's not right. It's giving the wrong impression of how humans develop. And this idea that you need to just pick something and stick with it, and it's sampling and try to figure out where you have the best shot, it's worthless. And it's wrong. And so I became kind of obsessed with getting after that.
I really want to become successful in the things that I'm applying myself to in the season of my life. So whether that's podcasting or businesses, my business portfolios might vary in sort of different industries, from everything from sort of psychedelics to SpaceX to whatever it might be. And so when I was thinking about sitting down with you today, I thought maybe I'll just tell them where I'm trying to get to in my life. I'm a 30-year-old man, so I'm not in the early phases of my career. Does that mean, for example, that I can't make ground now?
What phase of your career are you in?
I don't know, because I had this 18 to 28 thing, so maybe I'm a little bit more rigid.
There's research a few years ago from MIT and Northwestern and the US Census Bureau that found the average age of a founder of a fast-growing tech startup, top 1 in 10,000. Guess what the average age was? On the day I found it. Guess.
25.
40. A 50-year-old had a better chance than a 30-year-old. But we never hear, just like we never hear the story of these like zigzaggers, we only hear the Tiger Woods story. We only hear like Mark Zuckerberg famously said young people are just smarter when he was 22. Do you hear him saying that anymore? No, surprise, surprise. But we like valorize precocity. So I would not say that you're not in the early stages of your career. You're certainly not by that much. And that's not to say that there aren't tremendous companies or measured by market cap that there are these amazing young founders. But they get outsized attention compared to what's the norm. That's another thing that's really important to me. It's not to say there aren't exceptions, because there's many different ways to talk as there are human beings. But I think we're constantly focusing on the exception when people should at least be aware of the norm.
So the average, the fastest growing, did you say tech founders?
Tech startups, but tech in this context also include things in agriculture, right?
Yeah.
Not just photo sharing apps like tech.
Yeah. Which I think is important, because I think it's fair to say that it's less likely a 55-year-old can understand some of the more emerging platforms that are native to, say, not Zuckerberg 22. I think messing around in his dorm room with computers and the internet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But technology touches a lot of other areas of the, it's like yesterday on the way here, I was learning about a software that I'd never heard of because all the computers were down in the airport, right? Technology's in all these places that are not as kind of don't have sort of figurehead as publicly profiled.
So if I do want to become, okay, so I understand that this season of my life I can do whatever I want in terms of I can aim at whatever I want because I'm really good at it. But if I just want to be more productive in the goals that I am aiming at, so this podcast means a lot to me. So I want to be more productive when it comes to figuring out how to move this podcast forward, how to innovate, how to solve some of the problems and challenges that we face. What are the first things that spring to mind when I start speaking about productivity with a very focused task?
I mean, I think your challenge for you is going to be that this podcast has gotten so big and you've gotten so competent at it that you're going to be in what a rugged competence would. I was so mechanical competence. You're in an area where you're so comfortable and so successful that getting better is going to be harder because there's disincentive from changing anything they're doing, right? You have to take some risk. You need that. If you're going to want to get better, you're going to have to take some risk. I think that's going to be a difficult thing to do because there are people in this room that depend on you. Risk for you is risk for them too. And so I think you have to start thinking about what would be some smart risks if you want to innovate with the podcast. What might that look like? And finding ways to run small experiments. I'm a huge fan of low stakes practice. Right? How can you set up some low stakes practice for what might be a worthwhile larger experiment? And I think that's the same for individuals progressing in their career. I love this, right? My favorite, absolute favorite phrase is a paraphrase from this woman named Amelia Barr, who's a professor at the London Business School. She studies how people make work transitions. So the phrase was, we learn we are in practice. So the thesis of her work is that there's this idea that you can just introspect and go forth and know what you should be doing. Like Clark Kent running with phone, ripping off, come down to Superman. But work is part of identity. It doesn't change like that from introspect. You have to go try something, see how it went. What was unexpected? What did you learn that you might be interested in, or that you're better at that you didn't? What's something that you're good at that you realize you're not using? And then you make your next step based on that, right? And I think when you're so confident and successful getting only tons of positive feedback for something, it becomes harder to take risks. So I think that'll be a challenge for you because if you take a sufficient amount of risk, right, you want to be in your zone of optimal push. So for anything you're doing, if you're doing practicing whatever, physical stuff, anything, if you're not at least like 15, 20% of the time failing, then you're not in your zone of optimal push where your day is much better as possible. And I think when you have something that's very successful, that's hard. And so I start thinking about what risks you're willing to take. And it doesn't mean it's a failure if something goes backward, right? The views go down or whatever.
It's interesting. It's one of the great sessions in life, and it's also things like keeps me up at night. What's me in the shower is how to keep the team conducting experiments and failing more when they are successful. So when this podcast went to number 1 in Europe, I had a failure, and her sole responsibility is to increase the rate of failure and experimentation in our team, which means you get all of our departments. We've got departments in this particular business. There's 40 odd people in the company, called the RFCO, and there is a production team, there is a social media team, there's a commercial team, for example, and there's a guest booking and logistics team. And I felt, we're actually in LA, I'm speaking to Joanna, who's the guest booking and research team, and I was saying, like, one of the most important thing now that we're number 1 is that we keep like disrupting ourselves, because there's going to be some kid like we were 3 years ago that because of their naivety, that they're not encumbered by all of this sort of like convention, all of this success.
Yeah.
So high failure and experimentation within our team and market. And now in the last couple of days, we're running an experiment where every single one of those departments has essentially like a failure assistant in it, who's you know what happens to people, they get busy doing their job. Yeah. And experimentation failures are secondary to their job. So if we put failure people into each team and they drive the experiments, they understand the team, they drive the experiments, they measure them, and most importantly, they report their failures and experiments back to the whole team. Because there's really transferable learnings. For example, there was one the other day where the social media team has got this thing on TikTok, which allows us to look at guests like you and find your most popular videos ever on TikTok with a click. And the social media team figured that out, which was really useful for them. But then the research team over here, the guests who are trying to find the best videos that David has made, they also benefit from just the discovery of that button, because instead of having to scroll within TikTok, they press one button to your most popular videos. So there's this real 1 + 1 = 3 in getting the teams to share their failures and experiments, so they don't have to fail in the same ways. So what did you just write down?
This brings up so much stuff. The fundamental problem we're getting at here is one called the explore-exploit trade-off.
Right.
And so explore-exploit sounds like looking for new knowledge or new things that you can do that will add value. Exploit is taking stuff you're already good at that you already know and drilling down on it. And this is like the fundamental challenge for people in organizations that get good. Is once they find something they're really good at and they drill down in it, they tend to ditch explore mode. Yeah. Right? And balancing that explore-exploit, and there's always, of course, like famous business cases like Kodak invents digital camera and skulls it because they're like, why would we disrupt our own business? But there's this fascinating work led by a guy named Joshua Wong from Northwestern, who does like people who do career development studies looking at 20 people and he'll look at 20,000 people. So his work's just fascinating. And what he saw in his work with his colleagues was that people tend to have hot streaks in their careers. Their best work tends to come in clusters. Most people only have one. Some people will have more than one. They're lucky. And reliably, what precedes a hot streak, he was looking at things like 26,000 film directors, artists, scientists. Reliably, what precedes a hot streak is a period of exploration where they're trying these different styles. They're going broad. They're keeping a smaller team so they can be nimble. They're moving between teams. And then they find something and they drill into it. If they're going to have another hot streak, they do it again. They zoom back out and they go to this explore, and then exploit. So they toggle between these modes instead of staying just in one. But the clear message of his work is that exploration precedes a hot streak. If you don't do the exploration, you just sell into exploit at sort of a middling level, then you're kind of sacrificing your hot streak. So that was one of the things that came up for me. The other thing was this: you got to something. This idea of people not only doing things that might fit, and I think that's great that they have the title failure, right? Because you'll have the Adam Grant, I think you both know, he mentioned something called the hippo effect, where it's like the opinion of the highest paid person in the room, where their signaling is really important for everyone. So if you're not just giving lip service, like, yeah, failure's good, but actually giving people that title, I think that's a great signal for, you're underwriting risk. You're underwriting risk for people, psychologically. And you're creating what scientists study sort of networks, like groups of teams, called import-export business ideas. This is one of the hallmarks of organizations and ecosystems that learn and adapt to a changing world. And the import-export business of ideas means you need to have information flowing through an organization. You have people doing different things, maybe people even moving teams here and there. So I always think of the engineer, Bill Gore, who founded a company that created Cortex, and he fashioned the company based on his observation that organizations often do the most impactful work in times of crisis, because the disciplinary boundaries go out the window, and people start, what can I learn from my neighbor, working together. Or as you like to say, real communication happens in the carpool, which I think is a funny saying, but I worry about that with more hybrid and remote work, where you can't necessarily just rely on serendipity for people to be sharing these ideas in this informal way. And so I actually think we have to be a lot more thoughtful about setting up our own import-export business of ideas internally. It sounds to me like that's what you're doing.
Okay, so what about then on an individual level? How do I, as an individual, I've got lots of things I'm doing, like some books at the moment, podcast, lots of things. How do I become more productive within an organization? Because there's my to-do list. I've got 10 to-do lists from all the team members who can put things on there. I get distracted easily, I think, because I end up watching a video about AI on YouTube or Rockets or something. And I want to get more done. Really, I want to be more productive in the time I spend working.
So this is when you know what you should be doing.
When I know what you should be doing, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong sometimes like watching YouTube and rock, like that's you get ideas.
Yeah,
But 10 to-do lists is a lot of to-do lists.
Yeah.
Do you get most of the stuff done on those to-do lists?
It's more, so each team, from my chief of staff to my assistant to my manager, has a to-do list on Monday that they send things to me on. And then I go through there and see what task where it's an approval, which is letting me know something. And that's kind of how it works. So
I at one point when I was getting overwhelmed with some stuff, I had a virtual assistant for a while, and we categorized like emails into this A priority, B, C, D, all this stuff. And eventually I realized that was empowering me to do a lot of low value things. I became efficient at doing things that I shouldn't be doing. So I was seeing this public email address online, but when I was oblivious to it, I wasn't answering, and that was fine. But once I knew it was there, I'm like, well, I have to answer this. And so one important step for me was realizing that only the A list is stuff going to get done because I'm a limited person in the room. Like, so one, I think is maybe you do need to do all that stuff where you just need to be aware of it. But some of it is just, I think there can be a danger in someone who has a lot of support resources where they can lose some of the aspect of prioritization. You know, you need to say, this is the list of support and other things I'm going to get to. But for some of you, I would suggest something like not starting your day with email or messaging, because we were talking a little bit before about the Garnick effect, which is this idea that an unfinished task leaves like a residue in your brain, basically. It makes it harder for you to fully transition to doing something else. And because I expect your various inboxes will always be an unfinished task, right? If you start the day with that, no matter what you do, the residue is going to be there for what you try to switch to next. So I'm not saying don't address your email. I wouldn't start with it. I would, the day before, what is the thing that if I get done tomorrow, it's going to be a good day, and start with that before you do the things that might leave residue on the brain. So
I think that's true. Have they done studies on this Garnick effect?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can give people, one, you can do it in a workplace environment where researchers like Gloria Mark, for example, will be tracking everything from someone's vision to what they're doing on a computer to their heart rate variability and seeing how long it takes them to get back to a task. Increased switching when there's like a residue in their brain, so their rate of switching will go up. Some of their indicators of stress response will go up. Or in a cognitive task, they'll perform more poorly if there's something still stuck in the brain. So there's also sort of laboratory experiments where you give somebody something, don't let them finish it, give them a cognitive task, and see if they impair their performance if they weren't allowed to finish the thing that started before.
I want to close up on that point of just team culture and how to get team people to do really exceptional innovative work and to fail faster. Is there anything else that's sort of pertinent to you? I'm saying this purely selfishly because one of the things I think a lot about even with the podcast is how to get our teams failing more often. If that's even the right thing to be aiming at, the type of experiments we should be running, how we should be running them, anything else at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't lionize failure for its own sake, right? It's just, I think it's inevitable if you're experimenting enough, there's some failure. But I think one useful thing to do, like a guy I love to make a big impression on me, Ed Hoffman, used to be the chief knowledge officer at NASA. That's like after NASA had some disasters. Most everything they did was very successful, but obviously they had some high-profile disasters. He was brought in because they were deemed not a learning organization. They weren't learning from lessons of the past. He was brought in to help create a knowledge system so that people would learn from lessons of the past. And one of the things he does in organizations, when he goes in, now he consults, is he goes around and asks people, what are you good at that we're not using? Right? And people always have an answer for that. And that leads to, well, what's the experiment that we can run to try to use that thing that you're good at that we're not using? So I think that can become a foundational question to help people set up some of those experiments. But also, a big impact would be, and this is a tough one, you going ahead and failing an experiment, because that's going to set the agenda, right? But you actually have to fail. Like, this can't be, you do our job and you trip on the curb or something, but you have to fail something of consequence. And then your reaction to that to set a tone.
So that's on the team level. So just what do we think about how, on an individual level, I can become a better learner? Because one of the things I do obviously for a living is I do this podcast and I meet all these incredible people, and they say things to me that in the moment change my life, but I feel like I forget 5 minutes later often. Some of them 6 of them don't. So I've always wondered, how can I become a better learner? People come up to me in the street, you know so many things about so many things. And also my audience, they tune in every week, they listen to these incredible people. How can we become better learners? What is it we can do to retain information better? And also bring it to practice in our lives.
For retained information, one, repetition and familiarity is important, right? So if something's really important to you, you should reread it, because the first time you go through, if you're hearing new things, new terms, you're using your working memory just to keep up. So to put this kind of simple way, like there's research where you look at school kids, and if they're given like an essay about baseball, say, the kids that are deemed really good readers, and their kids are deemed poor readers, and the kids who do the worst in comprehension are the poor readers who don't know anything about baseball. The kids who know about baseball but are not as good readers will still have better comprehension. And the kids who are good readers but don't know anything about baseball, if they only get to go through once, because having some knowledge helps you fit into what's called your semantic network, the spider web of all the ideas in the brain. So one, going back over things, that can be taking notes, whatever it is. But when you learn something new, try to fit it into your semantic network. When you learn something, connect it back to something you already know. So like when you have these conversations, you probably have a better tendency to remember things where you say, that reminds me of some other guest that either agrees or disagrees with something some other guest said, and you've attached it. If you think of your brain's like a spider web, things are attached by threads, and if you vibrate one thread, it's more likely to shake these other ideas into your brain. So when you're learning something new, stop and try to fit it into your existing base of knowledge if you want to learn better.
Can I use that to sort of fit it into an example? So I'm thinking of you using something about what is something I don't use but I'm good at. With the listener that's listening to this now, in order to embed that, think of something that they are not using that they're good at, because that kind of brings it into
absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Use it as quickly as you can, again, repetition, but fit it into your network of ideas. But stop if you have to. Because you can read a ton if you're not kind of, and I think reading even things that you don't retain still change your sensibility at some level, even if you can't consciously pull up all the ideas and statistics and so on. But for things that you really want to be able to access, connect it to other things that you already know. And something called space repetition. If you can have a way where you can back to it at intervals, that would be much better. So I use this like Readwise as a program. I'm not affiliated with it. It's just a thing that I use where if I have highlights in Kindle books or ebooks, it will feed me back my highlights at intervals, things that I thought were important regularly. And that's taking advantage of what's called space repetition, where if you want to actually leave a space almost to the point of forgetting something, and then if it's brought up again, you're embedding it better in long-term memory. So this is for learning anything, space repetition, language learning, all this kind of stuff. So you would think that you should just repeat a thing a million times as soon as you have it, and that's the best way to grab onto it. That's not the most efficient use of time. It's actually to just space it out. And quizzing yourself is a great way to retain. So there's something called the generation effect, which is if like if you have to do highlighting versus flashcards, flashcard quizzing is much better. Generation effect is being
我
forced to
管
come
你
up with
是什么啦，那一定是想
trying to get the wrong impact, something that's wrong, trying your brain to then retain the right answer. That's often a fair approach. If you're really wrong about an answer, you're much more likely to remember the right answer once it's given to you. So if you're looking at a piece of information, I suggest you guess what it's going to be before you get the answer. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It might feel bad to be wrong, it doesn't matter. You'll better retain when you see the right answer.
But if I'm wrong, then I guess I'm more shocked, so there's even more retention of that new answer.
It's not, I mean, this is one of this kind of quizzing where it feels hard. So you should do it before you know the answer. Something I read about in brain called desirable difficulties. These are things that make learning feel less fluent. They are unpleasant. They may slow you down. Much better for long-term retention.
Interesting. So the more difficult the learning, the more you learn.
Often, I mean, but I guess there can be a case for something so over your head that you're not learning anything, right? But these desirable difficulties are like one of the most famous ones is called interleaving or mixed practice. And this is if you're training at something, you want to vary the types of process.
DJing.
DJing?
I'm DJing at the moment.
Okay, so I don't know what skills they go in DJing, but if there's a way to do it, you should try it instead of doing the same skill over and over and over again. Well, let me give you a research example, and then you can port it into DJing. So in a recent study, there were dozens of middle school math classrooms, middle school 6th grade. There were so many different types of math learning. Some of them randomness, some of them got what's called block practice. That's you give like problem pick A, B, 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 etc. Kids make progress fast, they're happy, rate their teachers highly, etc. Other classrooms got what's called interleave or mixed practice, where instead of doing A followed by B, it's like you took all the problem types, threw them in a hat, and did it random. Progress is slower, they might be less happy because they don't feel like they're getting it. But instead of having to just execute a procedure, they're having to match a strategy to a type of problem. And when the test came along, where everyone has to transfer to new problems, the interleave group blew the block practice group away. It was like the effect size was like taking a kid from 50% off, moving them to the 80th, just by arranging the practice in a way that made it more difficult.
What's going on?
I mean, it seems to be, and this works for physical learning as well. I think this is one of the reasons why, I mean, this is one of why futsal is, why 90% of the best footballers grow up in futsal instead of like playing in full size pitch. Is that it forces you to, instead of using procedures knowledge, which is you learn how to execute this procedure over and over, you're doing making connections knowledge, which is identifying the structure of a problem and figuring out how to match a strategy to it. And so you're building this like mental template instead of just an ability to execute this like flexible template that can be applied going forward.
So you're getting like a broader context of a challenge versus a very narrow solution perspective to how a challenge is solved. You're kind of understanding it from a deeper level, right, from different sides.
And you're building this generalizable model in your head about approach. I mean, my favorite, the only person my favorite study going into range was this one, the one that surprised me the most, I guess, was this one that was done at the United States Air Force Academy, which is this amazing place for experiments because they get 1,000 new students every year. Those students are randomized to math classes. They all have the same test and same grade and everything. Then they're re-randomized the next year and re-randomized again. So you get these huge experiments randomizing people in math classes. And they looked at 10,000 students and found that the teachers were the best at getting students to do well on a test in their own class, in their own intro class. Right? Teacher year 1 has students who score highly on their test. Those students go on to underperform in subsequent classes. And teachers whose students sometimes rated them low because they thought it was hard, don't do as well on the test the first year, overperform in subsequent classes. And the difference is the way to get someone to do really well in tests is to teach this very narrow body of knowledge that they'll have to execute the test. The best way to prepare them for math learning is to give them this much broader connection of ideas that would serve them later on. So again, this is like, to me, the theme on every page of range, the way a crappy subtitle is sometimes what seems the best in the short term will undermine long term.
The tricky thing with that, as you say, it's like think about all the areas and industries that I'm playing in now. So I go, do I have the time to go broad? Like if I'm learning to DJ at the moment, and at the moment I'm just trying to figure out these buttons do. You know what I mean? Like there's all these buttons, I'm trying to press them in the right order. But you're telling me that the thing that's better for my long-term development might be just to spend some time understanding music, how it's made, and how understanding like the beats of music, and maybe spend some time making music myself. Because right now I'm trying to smash two songs together at the right time.
I think this gets a fundamental issue that maybe I should have brought earlier, actually. So, and it has to do with how you characterize different tasks that you're training. So there was a period where I was really confused about the research I was reading in building expertise, because there were two camps of researchers, both led by eminent scientists. One that would study people doing sort of more 10,000 hours kind of approach, same thing over and over, and they would get better. And this other camp would find that people did that approach, not only would they not get better, they would often get more confident, but not better, which was a bad approach. Sometimes they would get even worse with really narrow approaches. And I could not figure out how to reconcile these things. Why are they finding such different results? Again, I'm looking through for all these signs of, bad data, not finding it. And fortunately, I gave a talk where I was doing some of the critiquing of the science underlying 10,000 hours rule, and the Nobel laureate Dan Kahneman wrote Thinking Fast and Slow was there, and he asked someone for an email address like months later, and he followed up and invited me to lunch. And we go and have lunch, and I'm like, and he was interested in my critique, some of the research, and I was saying, I'm really confused. What do you want to know? I'm working through my confusion about this. Why do people sometimes get better with narrowly focused practice, and why sometimes don't? They said, I've got the paper for you. And basically, he referred me to this body of research about kind versus wicked learning. These are terms coined by a psychologist named Robin Hogan. Kind is like next steps and goals are clear, rules repeat, it's based on patterns, repetitive patterns, rules never change.
Give me an example.
Chess, golf. In chess, the grandmaster's advantage is largely based on algebra recurring patterns. So you better start studying those by age 12. Your chance to reach a grandmaster drops from about 1 in 4 to about 1 in 55. Also, why relatively so easy to automate. Feedback is quick and accurate. Not a lot of human behavior involved. Work next year will look like work last year. On the other end of the spectrum are wicked learning environments where patterns don't just repeat, they might fool you. Rules may change if there aren't. Feedback could be delayed or inaccurate. Work next year may not look like work last year. And so whether or not people get better with this very narrow, predictable way with this very narrow practice depends a lot on where on that kind to wicked spectrum the task happens to be.
What's an example of a wicked learning environment?
So let's say one of the examples that I love that he turned me to was in medicine. So there's a lot of areas in medicine where something is done and the person making the decision actually never learns of the consequences of the decision. Or I would say like judges in some cases in like the criminal justice system are set up to have maybe the worst judgment they could have in some ways because they almost never get feedback. They have like very little, they can do whatever they want and they almost never get any feedback. But so in medicine, there's one example in one of the studies that I thought was just interesting and illustrative where this physician became famous for being able to diagnose typhoid. So you're a physician by feeling around palpating people's tongues, feeling around their tongue with his hand. And you could tell, a week or two before they could even get it, this person's going to get it. And as one of his colleagues later observed, he was a more prolific spreader of typhoid than even typhoid Mary. He was spreading it with his hands by touching their tongue, making a prediction they would get typhoid, which turned out to be correct. So it reinforced the lesson that he was really good at pitch. That's a really wicked learning environment. The feedback he's getting is reinforcing the exact wrongness. Right? But I would say most of the things that most of us are doing have feedback that tends to be delayed. Sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it's not. It's never as accurate as like I hit that golf shot and I see it toaster slices and then I change the club face and try again. And so most of what most of us are involved in, increasingly, right? Like work next year doesn't look like work last year for most of us anymore. And in fact, Anders Ericsson, again, the guy who did the research underlying 10,000 hour rule, when he eventually wrote a book, he made this caveat in the book that said the 10,000 hour framework It applies to things where we know exactly how to be good, and a coach can watch you do it and correct everything that you do wrong. So it doesn't apply to most of these other things that we're supposed to do, computer programming and managing and entrepreneurship and all those other pretty big things. In those areas, you want this much broader toolbox.
I was really compelled by something I saw you talking about, which is the story of Nintendo and why they were so successful in the early days, because they have a very broad, they take quite a lateral thinking with this technology.
Yeah. That started with a guy named Gun A. Yokoe, who was scored poorly on electronics exams at university, and so he had to settle for a low-tier job as a machine maintenance worker at a company in Kyoto that made playing cards with flowers on them, whereas like his more prestigious peers went to big companies in Tokyo, and the company was in huge trouble, had to diversify, was going to survive, and he knew that he wasn't equipped to work on the cutting edge, but that there was all this information available that maybe he could just look for technology that's already well understood and combine it in ways his more specialized peers couldn't see. And so he went and he took some well-known technology from the calculator industry, some well-known technology from the credit card industry, combined them and made handheld games, and those were a hit. Like that's what made Nintendo, which was found in a wooden storefront in the 19th century. That's what turned it into a toy game operation. So he moved from machine maintenance to developing toys and games. And his magnum opus was the Game Boy, where it was a technological joke in every way. It's like the processor was a decade old, screen was like riding alfalfa or something. It's like, and it came out at the same time as color competitors, and he blew them out of the water because he knew what customers cared about wasn't color as much as it was durability, affordability, battery life, game selection by using well-known technology to put the games quickly. And so he kind of set this philosophy, this lateral thinking with good technology. That was his phrase, which means taking things that are already well understood and moving them somewhere where they're seen as invention. And that actually turns out to be more the norm than the exception in terms of technological innovation, particularly sort of later in the 20th century forward. Before that, it wasn't necessarily the case. Much of the 20th century, actually, most impactful patents, if you look at patent research, were authored by teams of individuals that dove deeper and deeper into one area of technology as classified by the US Patent Office. But starting in this sort of information age period, particularly 80s and accelerating forward, suddenly it becomes a lot easier to access information more broadly. And those impactful patents started to be authored by teams of individuals who worked in a whole number of different classes and often merging things from different areas for invention.
So how important is focus in this equation, focusing on one thing? Because you're talking much of the conversation about being broad, and people associate that with being unfocused.
Yeah, it's a right. I think the difference is between doing a bunch of things